I want to show you guys how I'm doing the plumbing and show you the theory behind what I have here as far as the piping goes. I had a video where I showed you guys me cutting the pipe, but I accidentally deleted it. So copper pipe, you can cut it a couple different ways, or actually a couple different cutters. Really, the only way that I know is using a cutter. I mean, yeah, you probably could use a hacksaw, but you got to clean it up a lot. This is a standard copper pipe cutter. You put it in here where it sits on these rollers. You tighten it, you spin it around until it cuts. Well, with the situation I have here, there's not enough distance from the wall. As you can see, there's no distance in order to cut it. I had to go buy this close cutter. This will cut pipe, and this is just for 1/2-inch pipe. And it'll cut anything that you have a clearance of a 1/2 inch. So I spun it, and without turning it, it's got like a spring that ratchets it down every time you turn it. It can only go in one direction. Cut it really clean. It was about $15 from Menards. I almost went to Harbor Freight because they had one for like $8 that had really good reviews. Took it out, I cut another pipe, and there's not a whole lot of distance. I bought a little, they call it a slip valve or a slip fitting, so that you can kind of put it in and you don't need the clearance up and down because the bottom is fixed because of the faucet. I was able to just, with cutting an extra piece of pipe a little bit longer, that the clearance is just enough. I have to pull it, not dangerously pull it apart to clear it, but I also have enough room to solder my joint. So that's one less joint to have to solder. The theory behind this is I have my, you guys can't see it from there, I have a shut off up here for the utility sink. Though cold water's on the right, hot water's on the left, and then it tees off from that point and goes to the laundry room for the wash machine. And how I'm going to do this is the water's coming down, and let me just make this a little taller. The water's coming down here, and this is my shut-off valve. Right now it's shut off. This is on. That means the sink is on and the pressure washer is on. This is off. So the pressure washer comes up, goes over to PEX, and if I want it to drain that outside, that garage spigot for whatever reason, I could shut it off, open this cold water on the sink, on the utility sink, and open the valve out there, and it should all drain back. If not, I can give it a little help with some air, because I am going to decrease the grade a little bit, so it should drain fine. I don't plan on doing that, but if I ever, going on an extended vacation and don't want to worry about it and I want to clear the lines, I can do that. They also make these valves with drain holes. Large ones are very expensive, but the small ones are kind of standard. I think they call them air bleeders, but you can put a bucket under it. But this, I have the sink, and this just made the most sense. This is an unfinished part of the basement, so I can access it. And yeah, the only thing is, here's what I use to cut the pipe here, and it cuts it like butter. It's like a ratcheting made just for PEX. I'll go ahead and cut a piece. It's that easy. These things work really good. And got the crimp rings on, but the bad thing with the PEX, in order to crimp it, it's got a big old crimper. I don't know if there's enough clearance. So what I'm thinking about doing is taking this pipe off. I gotta clean and flux them all. But this fitting here, these two here, I was gonna solder those in advance, let them cool, attach this on both ends, because on the other end it goes into the garage on a curve. I showed you that last video, but I did delete that video by accident. So it goes up here, and I didn't do 90-90, so what I did is I have this, and I'm going to screw this to the wall so it sits flush. Let's see if I can get you up in there. And it curves in there. It's kind of hard to see, but it does like a curve, because PEX is flexible. It does a curve into the garage, and I'm going to go ahead and crimp that one too before I, I'm gonna pull it down a little bit, crimp it, and then if I need to, if it's right, it's right. But before I attach it to the wall, or lose my room of working room, I'm gonna go ahead and take care of that. So this is the plumbing, and every time I run it, seems like I'm spending 50-60 bucks every time I go to the home improvement stores. So hopefully this is the last trip, but it may not be. And I'll show you guys what I'm going to do the outside when I get there. But I'm going to go ahead and take these apart. Like I said, I'll go ahead and solder that. I'm not the best solderer, not very good at all. If Pro presses weren't so expensive, I'd just go ahead and buy me one of those. But this is what I have. And yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and take this apart, clean it with emery cloth. So I didn't mention, when you cut these off, you got to deburr them. Or you're supposed to deburr them. A lot of people don't. Depends on how bad it is. These ones weren't bad, but I still went and did like a little ream, and you can see there's a little piece of copper. This is just a scrap I had. That it was my first cut, and then I had to make it one a little bit longer, just to get any kind of burr out. They have these cool little turning tools, but it was another $10, and I've already been spending too much money on this. I'm gonna go ahead and get this where I can turn the water back on. Is that it? Is that it? Okay. Got my flux, Stay Clean flux, soldering, solder. Yeah. All right. So that's what I'm gonna do. All right. So I'm gonna take this apart, clean it. This is a 1/2-inch brush. Clean the inside of this fitting. Really good. And then this is emery cloth, which is like a fabric sandpaper. I'm gonna use this to clean this. I'm just gonna back and forth and around. Guys, this is not a plumbing video. If you guys want to see someone that knows what they're doing, there's lots of videos out there. This is just showing my experience that what I'm doing with my pressure washer install. So that's nice and clean. The brass, and this is barely hitting this pipe, so I know I can bend it. This is just holding it, because there's like hardly any pressure. You can see I can move it still in the vise. And I gotta put some flux on there. I gotta clean this end. I think you have to clean brass. I'm not the greatest at brass fitting, so I'm gonna go ahead and clean it anyway, or take this emery cloth, and it should be pretty clean. Brass, I don't think, has as much impurities, I would think, than copper. It's harder too, so I don't know what this is gonna do, but I'm gonna go ahead and do it just in case, just to rough it up. Nothing else. Might give the flux something to grab to, but I don't think it's gonna do much. All right, so flux. The inside and outside. Oh, I missed a little burr on. No, that was just a little piece of garbage on there. I'm gonna go get a rag too. I forgot to get an old rag that I'm gonna toss and wet it. I'm going on the inside with flux. just getting some of this off of here, got too much. Wipe some of this off. Don't want it on the inside. The solder will go anywhere there's flux, so I don't want it any on the inside. Looks like I got a little bit on the inside anyway. Oh well, got it. And my fitting. Put a little bit on here as well. Now, this doesn't matter the orientation. Hope I don't jack this up. I'm not the best solderer. There we go. I'll wipe this excess off. All right. I'm gonna go get a rag, a damp rag, so I can clean it out, and I'll start off with this one and hit on the back side. All right, here goes nothing, guys. I do have my fire extinguisher at the ready just in case. Now, I had taken mine down because my son had a fire and we took the one in the garage, put it in his room. I forgot to buy one. I caught my lawnmower on fire trying to reset the tire, and I was looking for the fire extinguisher and I couldn't find it where it was supposed to be. So I went out and bought another one. It was a close call there. So yeah, got my torch. I got my rag at the ready, and my plan is I am going to hit this one from the bottom. Well, I'll hit it from like here. I'm gonna start off with the brass. I'm gonna go more on the brass because brass will take longer to heat up than copper. And then after I do this, I'm gonna hit the other side. So, and well, here goes nothing. I'll get a little bit longer. Not ideal here. I think I got it though. I don't know. Might have to pressure test this bad boy. I don't know. Got a pool of solder down there. This is probably not the greatest torch either because the flame isn't very pinpointy. So. Hot mama, hot mama, hot mama. Got some of that hot stuff on this towel. So I'm just cleaning these up. I wish they rented those Pro presses. They do have manual ones that you can buy cheaper, but those are those big compression type of handle things. I don't know. I usually don't do a lot of plumbing, so hopefully this works. I don't have any leaks. If it has leaks, And I said I didn't have any more brass. I actually have a brass valve. So I'm kind of a little worried about that. The other thing that throws me off is it wants to suck water, create steam, and it messes up the joint. Like this. And that's that. My pipe. Flux here. How did I do this one before? See, it's pretty tight, but it will fit if I take this one out, put this in here, and then barely that fits. This thing is getting thrown away when I'm done, so I'm not worried about that. I do have hot water still, so whoa, shit. That wasn't cool. Oh, that was not cool. Stupid me. I ran the hot water thinking, oh, the hot water's off. This has got a valve in it, so it pushed the hot water all the way up here. Son of a bee. I gotta take this apart and clean it, make sure there's no water in it now. Son of a gun. I'm gonna pause this, take it apart, make sure it's dry, and reflux it. So here's my crimping tool for the pecs. And I just checked it, and it looks like it will just have enough clearance to get in there and crimp it. So I'm gonna go ahead and solder first, then I'll crimp. So oh, the other thing too is I pulled out my other torch. Huge difference between the flame. Look at the flame difference. That's the new torch, or the smaller torch I have. Let's shut this off so you guys can see. So I think that'll be a big difference for me controlling the flame. And this is a TS 8000 and TS 4000, probably the amount of BTUs it puts out. Maybe there's a regulator on this, but I can't seem to make it, well, I guess that would make it smaller. And maybe, see, I'm not too bright, guys. Where this one, it just seems like the blue is a little bit more pinpoint. This works great for starting bonfires. If you guys are interested, 8,000. I don't know if they'll make it anymore. My father-in-law gave me these, but I'm going to use this. A little bit more pinpoint accuracy, hopefully, for the heat, and I'll see how this goes. I tend to say that a lot because I'm not a good plumber. I'm not a good at a lot of things, but I try to do this stuff myself, and yeah. So I have everything ready. I'm going to get some hot towels, move anything that can catch on fire out of the way. I did get my fire extinguisher down here. And yeah, I'll lay that stuff back here. There's some more stuff on the bottom. Probably not necessary, but I don't need any issues. That's about it, I think. But I'll leave that as is. All right. I'll get a towel, wet this, and get another towel to drape over here, and be able to weight my fittings down. So be right back. I'm gonna go ahead and heat this up from the. I'm gonna start off here. I'm gonna go from here to here to here and work my way up to here. That's already done at the top. Tapping it. Almost there. Not the prettiest, but I think that'll hold though. They're tight here. I'm going to do a little bit of maneuvering. Let those cool for a little bit. And get you guys close and look at not gonna win a prize. Turn the water on and there's no leaks. That's good. The rest I'll have to test. This one I'm worried about. I might have to redo that one, but no worries. I can go get a couple more fittings if I have to redo that. Now that I got a torch that won't like sizzle everything, but I think it'll hold. It almost got too hot, so I think most of the solder just went on the ground. And then give this a few minutes, and I'm gonna go ahead and crimp that up and run it outside. Now I'm gonna go ahead and press this fitting on. Hopefully you guys can see it. It's gonna be at the very top of the frame. And this is my Master Force Menards brand, store brand. And I have it where I need it. It's 1/8 of an inch in. So that's what you're supposed to have, is 1/8 of an inch in. I should have enough clearance to press this in if I measured everything right. Plus I have a little bit of flexibility here. And I'm gonna oh shit, that's the bad thing. These things take a lot of force. Drop some stuff. And then you got a checker. They do have fancier tools, like I said before, about $1,000. And this is a gauge to make sure it's right. It should fit. And it does. So that should be good. Won't know until I do a pressure test, but we will see. I'm gonna do the other side the same way. Button this down. I'm gonna take this thing out of here. This is going. I had a mirror. My wife was gonna have something in here and she didn't, so I'm gonna get rid of all this out of here. And I'll just have the garage left. That's all I'll hopefully have once I get everything situated. I can start plumbing the outside. That's the most important, because that's where all my stuff's gonna be hooked up to. The garden spigots that I'm using are from Supply House. No, it's not an affiliate, but I'll leave you guys a link to these. These are 1/2 inch. And I got these 1/2 inch to PEX adapters. And what I like about these, they're pretty much full port. The standard garden spigot is just like a little ball bearing. Doesn't really matter. I think I might have said this before. It doesn't really matter for the pressure washer, but for the bucket filler, that should help quite a bit. The other thing I wanted is just a glance to see if I left the water on. Where when I have them installed, I have to make some brackets. I kind of changed up how I'm gonna do this on the outside. But when I do the brackets, they'll be bolted here, and I can easily look over to see if the water's left on, because it would be like that. That's the other reason that I want it. Plus, these are pretty cool. They're brass, but they're nickel plated. I think it was $4 for shipping. I want to say it was 36 with shipping or without shipping for both of them. I'm using two, and it was $4 UPS. I think it was 3 days, something like that. And I'm gonna go for these. I couldn't find these anywhere. I couldn't find them on Amazon. I couldn't find them at any of the home improvement stores. So, and then this 3/4 inch PEX, that's what I'm using. And this is a 1/2 inch. So this is a 1/2 inch NPT, and this is a 1/2 inch NPT. And I put Teflon, then I put a little bit of this Jomar stuff. My father-in-law gave me this years ago. And I'm just gonna screw these on and use a wrench and just tighten them up. Get these pretty tight. Not gonna wrench crazy down on them or anything like that. I don't wanna, well, I guess I can put a wrench in the back. Let me go get a bigger wrench for the back. The reason I'm doing this, because the PEX would just be easier. I'm gonna press fit the PEX, yes, and then assemble it like in one piece. I don't know. I'm kind of making this stuff as I go. So I guess I can put this on here and get a little bit more of a... The other nice thing is if I ever have to take these off, it doesn't need much. I can take them off. Oh, almost dropped it. I can take them off and, just get another faucet, which it's pretty standard, 1/2 inch thread in NPT, and just take it apart, thread a new one on, and good to go. But these should last a very long time. Just gonna clean these up a little bit. That green stuff, you will get it on everything. Focus. Focus. Oh, macro. So that's what it looks like after I have them all threaded up and cleaned up. This is the plan for the outside. I have to make 2 of these brackets. This is about 3 inches by 5 inches, and the hole is about a 1 inch. Just use some cardboard to make a template. I'll go ahead and cut it out with my plasma cutter. All right, I'm gonna do some freehanding on the plasma, which I'm not very good at, so hopefully I get a little better at this. I'm gonna use a straight edge for the straight cuts, and then I thought about making some guides, but I don't think it's that important. So if I'm careful, I think I can cut the circles kind of sort of good enough. You won't see them, so that's why I'm thinking I'll cut them by hand. And I'll cut on the inside because the circles are a little bigger than they need to be. Thought about maybe doing one of these numbers, but maybe I'll try it. It might catch it on fire, but maybe I'll try just using that cardboard. I don't think it's gonna work good, but let's give that a shot. Why not, right? I already made my drawings for both brackets on here. I'm thinking with the fire and the cardboard, it may ignite. Probably should go get my fire extinguisher. Alright guys, I don't know how this is gonna go, but I'm gonna give it a shot. Wasn't horrible. There we go. We got it. We got that in there. This one has to hop in the bottom. There we go. Well, actually, I'll do that afterwards. I'm gonna do the curves freehand too, but let me cut this first out of here. Cut it all the way through. I didn't want to, so I wanted to have a little bit of rigidity here. Pretty clean. Trying not to get in the way of the camera. Not great, but I'll clean it up. That's pretty good. Yeah, pretty good. I'm gonna go cut the other one now, and same thing. And then I'll maybe go to some fine tuning. Get it pretty straight. I want to see the line. So if I bend this, make sure I bend this the right way. So if I bend this way, yeah. Yeah, so I say so a lot, I notice. Use my hammer. So tapping it. I just finished a bracket. I drilled 2 holes in the back for some screws. I'll probably use 2.5-inch decking screws, attach it to the stud. And then in the front, I set the silcock in there, marked the holes, drilled it, tapped it, and I'm gonna use stainless steel screws and maybe backing washers or backing nuts if they need it. Hopefully it will dry tomorrow. I just used this Rust-Oleum satin, same paint I used for the stand over there for my Kranzle. And tomorrow, hopefully we'll wrap this project up if this dries. I think it'll dry by tomorrow. So here's my brackets with the silk cock mounted in it. It's just sitting in there kind of loose right now. I'll tighten it up a little bit. I think just the threads alone in the steel will hold these machine screws. If not, I can throw some not washers, but some nuts on the back side, but that's how it looks. And all I'm gonna do is, I tightened up the fittings here for the most part. This one on the pressure washer is a little loose, but all these are pretty hand tight. I can go just a little bit more with a wrench if they leak, but they have washers in them. So the one up here that doesn't have a washer, that has the Teflon tape. And what I want to do is connect it with all the fittings that it would have. To see where I need to mount this. There we go. I'm just looking at this door. Just looking to find an angle in height that's not going to cause this here to bind. I don't want a lot of pressure on it. This is a 12-inch hose, but it also has a couple adapters with the elbow and the quick disconnect. So it probably adds another, I'd say 3 inches or so. It's more of like a 15-inch. I think I'm gonna go, just kind of flexing this a little bit just to see, because it does make a difference. So right there, I think that's a good height. Right there, that's a good height. Go ahead and mark it. And I'm going to do the same thing for the hose bucket filler. And now that one, where's that? So this one, a little bit different setup, of course. It's loose as well. So this one, make sure you guys can see this. You can't see it, let me adjust it a little bit. So this one, I want attached to this fire hose. And you know what, guys, earlier today, I mentioned that I didn't like this red, but you don't get to choose a color. I seen someone was selling one of them in stainless steel for 40 bucks. So I bought it. I figure I can reuse this in the garden, this red one. So I have a stainless steel one coming. It's almost identical except for these finger divots. They're little dots, but other than that, it's stainless steel. So I figured why not? I'm into it at this point, and I just didn't like the red. I was gonna paint it, but this is my bucket. It's not really a 5-gallon bucket. I also marked this one, but I'm not going to look at my mark. I want to see where I land this time. Let's see if it comes around the same. Yep, I'm landing right about the same there, so that's good. I'm only about a 1/2 inch from the base of this. And again, this isn't a 5-gallon bucket, but I'm going to run and get a 5-gallon bucket from the garage, or the shed rather, and just see how that would sit in it. So I went and got a 5-gallon bucket just to see where where this would land. Here's my original mark. And it's a little low. I don't know about that. So I'm going to come up a bit. Because my situation, I don't see me ever needing to, I might go up. I don't like, I don't need it to go on the inside of the bucket. I just need it to be pretty close. Let me lower it down to it. It almost touches. Redraw my line. So I'm going to do this with my smaller one, which I like. Let's see where that lands. Far up. It's too high. I might just split the difference. No, I think that works. Yeah, I think that works. Now that I have the spigots where I want them, I'm going to go ahead and cut this 3/4 inch pecs. Now, if you remember the back of the Silcox, I put the 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch pecs. Now what I have to do is cut little fittings or little pieces, just enough for basically 2 fittings. So I'm just going to kind of eyeball it. I'm going to cut 2 the same size. So I need 2, a little bit longer than that. And one of these will go on the top. That might be a little long. It might be a little long. I can go a little shorter than that. I can go a little shorter than that. See, that should work. Even, I don't want to go too much shorter than that because of the way the rings pinch. So I'm going to cut another one the same size, and I'll use this as my example here. Eyeball it. Well, I want it to be pretty close. If I did that right, yep, that's right. And what this is going to do is I'm going to have an angle coming down like that. And this is going to be a T. And then I'm going to join this one. I'm going to measure with a measure. Well, I don't even have to take a measuring tape. I just can take that. And then I have an angle on the bottom. So I don't think this is long enough, but I've got a bigger piece. Nope. This wrong, so don't go down. So I'm going to cut it a little bit bigger than I need it, and then trim it down so I can get it in here. this right. Bob's your uncle. So I just basically gonna take these off, put the rings on, crimp it up. All right. This one I want 90 degrees down. This crimper tool, the manual ones, not the greatest. They work, but they take a lot of effort and kind of makes you reposition where you're crimping. I'm gonna take some channel locks and I'm just gonna kind of crimp it to hold where it's at. These are copper rings. I want a 1/8 inch. I'll hold it, just putting a little bit of pressure on the ring just to hold it in place. The ring, that is, in place. See how it doesn't move now? Got my 1/8 inch. I want this pointed down. The bottom one doesn't matter because it'll still move. So I'll show you guys that one. I'm gonna make sure this jaws seating, and you gotta apply the pressure. That's the crimp. This one I gotta make sure it's 90 degrees. Very close to 90 degrees. I'm looking at the bracket. Making some adjustments. I'm gonna go ahead and crimp it. There we go. There's this gauge. Hopefully you guys could see that when I did it. And then there's this gauge, 3/4 inch. I'm good. So if that gauge goes in there, it means your crimp is good. So I'm gonna do the same thing here. Not 3/4 of an inch, 1/8 of an inch. All right, so this will be my final, hopefully, fingers crossed, final assembly and crimp ring attachment. So what I'm gonna do is, got the screws over here, kneel her out of place. Got my crimp ring on it. I'm down. I didn't erase my holes, but I can do that. Afterwards, this is why I wanted to drill my holes, because much easier. I don't have to line anything up. It's just gonna go in the hole that it was there. I'll tighten them up in a minute once I get it all straight. Same thing with this. And this one, I'm going down a bit. No, that's okay, I already have it crimped. I probably should have came back a half an inch, but you can't tell unless you're back here. I'm not gonna mess with it. It's one of those where if I mess with it, then it's gonna probably, oh, put a hole in the wall. Probably make it worse. Good. Taking this one out now. There we go. And the final one. I'm going to bring it down to about an 1/8 inch. Squeeze to hold it. Yeah, this one probably could have. I mean, I'm splitting hairs. It looks good. I'll show you guys what I mean in a second. Not bad enough where I want to redo it. Try not to mar my wall up too much. I have arthritis in my hand. Arms. These manual presses are not the greatest. So, I'll show you guys. Maybe get a closer look at what I got. There's my pipe coming out, going up. I was gonna hide it, but it matches. So if you come back here, it's not the fancy Prevost pipe or whatever they call that for the Obsessed Garage. But this is the regular guy's version. Blue pecs. And it looks good. That's the fitting I'm worried about right there. I don't know. It just, when I soldered it, it just didn't feel right. I'm going to go ahead and hey, that's a good sign. It's a good sign. I'm gonna open this valve, bleed any air. Got water hammer in here, but I think I gotta replace the valves. That's a very, very good sign. That's awesome. No leaks. I'm just gonna do a final hookup here, guys. Run these valves and look for some leaks. I'm not going to run the pressure washer tonight. Actually, I will. That should do it. So this should seal hand tight. No, that had a washer from the factory there. There's no pressure. Oh, that's a good sign. That's a good sign. I'm gonna purge this bad boy out the garage here. Running the water through it. Uh-oh, I got another leak. Got another leak. I was wondering if oh, you know what? You know why? I never tightened this down. No, I did. Yeah, I'm gonna have to take this one apart. It's leaking right here. I'm gonna put more Teflon tape on here. I'm gonna get a towel. Just bought some towels. Oh. Drain that bad boy. And oh, try not to make a complete mess over here, but I am going to take this off. That's it, guys. I just tested it. It works. That's the install. Got all the leaks solved. The leaks were all minor, just little Teflon tape and tightening washers, stuff like that. And tomorrow I'm gonna wash a car, so I'll show you guys that. Well, guys, this about wraps up this project. It took a little longer than I thought, but I really like the way it turned out. It's something I've been wanting for a very long time, and it's a great addition to my garage. Thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate it. Take care.